Welcome to another motivational video titled 15 Steps to Get Rich. Welcome to Achiever's Lane, where future achievers find inspiration. You're missing out if you haven't already subscribed. We are delighted to have you here with us today as we release this comprehensive guide on accumulating wealth and becoming rich. This is the same framework that millionaires and billionaires utilize to become wealthy. We whittled it down to this concise framework after researching hundreds of business models, as well as thousands of self-made individuals. You will get wealthy if you stick to this framework. From billionaires to small business owners, everyone follows the same path we're about to reveal you for free. All we ask in exchange is that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, turn on those damn notifications. Because this video is somewhat lengthy, we strongly suggest you to take notes as we go through it. We were not all born equal. We live in different settings, each with its own peculiarities. We recognize you're not all starting at the same time in this race, yet this framework works for everyone. However, depending on your environment and current situation, things may progress faster or slower. However, if you stick to the game plan, you'll get the same result. Before we get started, here with some quick considerations. Little to no debt. Find a job or a stable source of income if you're in debt. Don't take on any more debt. Instead, work your tail hard to pay off what you already owe. As a result, you'll be able to start fresh. Dependencies are minimal. If you have children or family members who rely on you for financial support, you can still get rich, but you'll have to be a lot more cautious. Begin constructing it as a side project alongside your current job until the new business is earning enough to support you and your family's needs. You will, in all likelihood, require resources. These will be useful if you already have a job or some savings. There will be costs, even if you're bootstrapping. Even if you try to do most of it yourself, you will perhaps need a laptop, a means of transportation as well as some services. 5 to 7 years. The average business venture takes 5 to 7 years to become successful. You will get wealthy if you can build anything from scratch and sustain it for over 5 to 7 years. It could even take up to 10 years depending on the situation. The fact is you will succeed if you persist long enough. If you were looking for a hidden formula that would result in the cosmos dumping $1 million in your lap, you are sadly mistaken. This isn't the case. We divided the framework into 3 sections. Part 1 is to begin making money. Part 2 is about building wealth, and Part 3 is about becoming wealthy. With these in mind, here are the 15 steps utilized by millionaires and billionaires to get rich. The first step is to establish a goal. Please note, the goal isn't for you to get wealthy. This sounds too vague? When you set a goal, you should be specific. Your goal should be so compelling that it motivates you to achieve it. Your goal should motivate your lazy self to turn off the TV or Netflix and get back to work. Every successful person in the world writes down their objectives, and not just any objectives, but SMART objectives. SMART is an acronym meaning specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. A goal isn't smart if it doesn't meet all 5 criteria. Rather than wishing to become a billionaire and knowing that this will not be your fate, why don't you start filling in the blanks? By the end of December, a reasonable goal would be to earn $1,000 per month from this new project. Once you've achieved it, increase the ceiling by $5,000, $10,000, or $50,000. We know folks that make over $1 million a month, and they all started with modest targets, achieved them, and then raised the bar. Step 2. Break down the goal into smaller parts and do the math. Now that you have a goal and are serious about achieving it for the first time, it's time to figure out how to get there. Reverse engineering is the term for this process. Yes, if you want to grow rich, you'll have to perform the arithmetic. Money is a numbers game. For example, if you want to make $1,000 every month, you'll need $100 from 10 individuals, $50 from 20 people, or $10 from 100 people. Do the arithmetic. Now that you've figured out the arithmetic, it's time to figure out how to put it all together. To get $50 from someone, you must provide them with a product or service that is worth at least $50 to them. It must be available to that individual and you need to have a means of transacting with him or her. Let's keep things basic for now. You'll need a product, a website, and a bank account to achieve this goal. See how we've broken it down into smaller chunks? Then you further break these down into smaller bits. What sort of goods do you have available? Is it a physical issue? Is it digital? Is it a product or a service? What will it resemble? What exactly does it entail? What do I need for a website? A domain name, of course. I require web hosting, a logo, and the ability to handle payments in order to get funds. This logical approach to thinking is an absolute must. As in, A must occur before B may occur. You'll never reach your goals if you can't break them down into smaller chunks. Creating a website is something you can learn, as well as how to do the other concrete actionable bits. Step 3 is to educate yourself and build skills. The thing about actionable goals is that you're not reinventing the wheel. Someone else has already done it before you, so there is knowledge out there on how to address this type of problem. With the plethora of learning platforms, including YouTube and Google and others, in the digital era, ignorance is no longer an excuse. Therefore, it's time to put your ignorance to rest and start learning. Yes, becoming wealthy means educating oneself about the industry you're in, knowing how things are done, what the best practices are, and what to avoid. Successful people actually appreciate learning new things about their field because it allows them to be more successful, accomplish more, and enjoy the trip more. However, simply learning new things without applying them is insufficient. To make the transition from learner to doer, you must put the skills you've learned into practice. You must practice until you have mastered the skill. Like the popular slogan, you've got to fake it until you make it. Step 4 is to work every single day. Welcome to what is popularly known as the grind. The rule is straightforward. You'll notice results faster if you put in more effort. This is the first challenge you'll face on your adventure. How much do you truly desire it? If this is your calling, if this is the path you've chosen for your life, will you give up after 3 months, a year, or 2? Discipline is the magic word. You must discipline both your thoughts and your actions. Always keep in mind that if your initiative succeeds, the rest of your life will be fantastic. Visualizing your end result is what will motivate you to return to work on a daily basis. Results will be gradual at first, but after a few months, you'll start to see your first victories, which would further spur you to keep grinding. Step 5. Get shit done. Here, we'll share a foundational concept that has worked for us. It's known as task completion, or moving the needle. It entails completing a task, no matter how small. This ensures that you're truly getting somewhere. If you claim you're going to launch a website, then go ahead and get the domain, hosting, and go live. This stage requires you to break down your broad goals into smaller goals and set clear deadlines for each one. Once you've decided on an objective, maintain laser-like focus on it until it's achieved, then move on to the next. You won't believe how many people work on stuff all the time yet never seem to make any real progress. They're busy being busy, not busy getting things done. If you discipline yourself to work on your objectives, you will definitely succeed. These first 5 actions will provide you the first momentum you need to start making money. At this stage, you are now an employee of your company. You don't yet own the company. Instead, the company owns you. That's fine for now, but it's not sustainable. Instead, you should concentrate on progress. This is where the following step comes in. Step 6. Make use of other people's time. This entails outsourcing repetitive tasks to others. Each of us has our own set of strengths and shortcomings. Every successful person focuses 90 to 100% of their efforts on their strengths. Anything less guarantees mediocrity. To succeed as an entrepreneur, you'll need to identify folks who can help you free up time, so you can concentrate on what you do best. One thing to keep in mind is that no one will ever work as hard as you do for your company. If you're looking for a clone of yourself, you'll never find one. Instead, look for people who are eager to learn and who are good at following directions. Allow them to handle repetitious tasks. Break down each activity for them and have them repeat it over and again. This is known as optimization. It means streamlining your production process, either through people or technology. Your goal should be to systemize and automate 80% of your operation. The remaining 20% is dedicated to the strategy aspect, which is your key role. You'll never grow if you can't bring in employees to automate the process. This is popularly referred to as other people's time. And please endeavor to fairly compensate and motivate these individuals if you want them to get their best efforts. Make sure you pay yourself enough to cover your living costs. Everything else must be directed toward improving the business if you want to. Step 7. Analyze and improve. After you've taken care of the day-to-day operations and gotten the business moving, it's time for you to take the steering wheel and decide where it needs to go and how you'll get there. This is solely your responsibility. Nobody knows your industry as well as you do. The more you know and analyze, the more likely you are to succeed. You just have to know your figures, research your firm to the smallest detail and find out what works and what doesn't. Study your competition. Analyze other businesses in the same manner you examine your own to see what works for them. With these two types of knowledge, you may be able to make improvements that will benefit the company and allow it to expand. Your job is to manage the resources you have, the people who work for the company, and yourself. The better you are at managing these three, the better your business will thrive. Everyone around you will consider you semi-successful at this time. You've essentially figured out the business equation and are succeeding. The money is rolling in, and the temptations are increasing. This is where the following step comes in. Step 8. Live like you're poor. This is where most future achievers stumble. It is what we refer to as the middle of the road trap. This is a trap to avoid at all costs. Because if you fall into it, you risk losing the majority of what you've worked so hard to create. It's a secret only the wealthy know about. Everyone else is stuck in the middle class, never understanding why they didn't make it to the top. Here's the key to becoming wealthy. The longer you live like you're poor when you don't have to, the richer you'll become. Think about this for a moment. The longer you pretend to be poor when you don't have to, the richer you become. This is the principle of delayed gratification. Self-control is what separates the genuinely rich from the imposters. When you see money pouring in, you're inclined to spend it on yourself and the benefits of your hard work. Doesn't that make sense? You've put in a lot of effort over the last 5 years. And now you can buy a nicer house, a nicer automobile, nicer clothes, and a better overall lifestyle. You've made it halfway through the race and have come a long way. However, you will not receive a medal unless you complete the entire race. You must cross the finish line to receive your prize. At this stage, self-control and discipline will allow you to genuinely become wealthy rather than merely appear wealthy. Step 9. Save to invest. You put all the money you're tempted to spend on liabilities into a savings account and don't touch it. You don't change your lifestyle. Instead, you pretend it doesn't exist and go about your business as usual for a little longer. This is where the principles of wealth creation step in. The money saved should be invested in assets rather than liabilities. Assets are the items your company owns that can provide future economic benefit. Liabilities are what you owe other parties. In short, assets put money in your pocket, and liabilities take money out. Basically, instead of buying yourself something you like, save the money and put it in something that will make you more money. There are two types of mindset: rich mindset and poor mindset. A vast majority of people believe that you work hard to get money so that you can buy what you desire. This is not what wealthy people do. Rich people work hard to earn money so that they can buy money-making machines for themselves. If you have enough money-making machines, you can buy anything you want without having to work at all. The first way of thinking asks you to put in more effort since you want more things. However, there is a second way of thinking. The more you work now, the less you will have to work later. That's what you need to do with the money the business brings in. You need to reinvest it to secure the future. Step 10 is to invest. You're finally accumulating wealth at this point. This wealth is here to stay. Regardless of what happens to your business in the next years, you can count on it to make your life easier. However, to keep things simple, there are primarily two types of investments you should make once you arrive. One is a cash flow investment, and the other is a capital gains or appreciation investment. Cash flow investments pay you money on a monthly basis, whereas appreciation assets increase in value over time. We'll dedicate a whole video to the many types of investments you can make after you've reached this point in your trip. Now that you've started investing, you'll need to keep the main business running long enough for your wealth to reach the target level. This takes us to the next step. Step 11. Reinvest in the primary business. You're already making money, the main business is running smoothly, you have some side investments that are increasing your wealth, and you're feeling great. With flashy stuff all around you and possibilities begging to be grabbed, the temptation will be at an all-time high. The second danger you'll encounter on your path to wealth is known as neglecting the cash cow. All of your riches has come from your main business, and you've gotten this far because you've been preoccupied with it throughout the first two portions of your journey. This is often when most firms experience a downturn. Why? Because you're distracted, you're not going after it the same way you used to, and the market, the customer, and your competitors have caught up, and you're in dangerous seas. You will no longer be poor. However, you will never be wealthy unless you improve your main business. This is where the company's consolidation begins. Allowing half of the money earned by the firm to go towards investments and the other half to solidify and develop the business itself is a good rule of thumb in this circumstance. You've been in the industry for around 6 to 7 years at this time. Since you started, times have changed, and new tools have become available to you. You must begin learning how to use them to keep your firm afloat. Your competitors are already using them and vying for your market share. If you're both similarly educated, the one who's hungry and wants it more will win. This reinvestment in both yourself and your business marks the start of the third and final chapter of your path to wealth. Here's how you can avoid making a mistake. Step 12. Find a successful mentor. Having someone who has been down this path before to guide your steps is essential on the road to true wealth. That is why mentors are such a valuable asset to have in your toolbox. If you've made it this far, it's evident to everyone that you're serious about this project, that you have the necessary talents, and that you're prepared to put in the effort to make it a success. Successful people like assisting others in their pursuit of achievement as long as they demonstrate their worth. Demonstrate that you aren't wasting his or her time by establishing a relationship. Regular check-ins with your mentor about what you're doing and how your firm is progressing will not only rescue your company from failing, but will also speed up its success. And now that you've found a mentor, it's time to build your network. Step 13. Create a network. Because of your fortunate situation, you'll be able to network with people from many walks of life. Now it's up to you to make the connections. People who are wealthy and successful tend to stick together. Why? Because it's much more difficult to relate to a long-forgotten cousin than it is to someone who has traveled a similar path to where you are now. Take it from us. It isn't a lonely existence at the top as is often said. It's just a bunch of people like you who have made it this far and are looking for buddies. Everyone has experienced similar difficulties and is offering tips on how to avoid making mistakes. This is your chance to create a safety net that will ensure you never become poor again. Keep in mind that your network is your net worth. These fellow achievers are willing to help each other in the event that something goes wrong. They shall connect you to resources, funding, and contacts, among other things to facilitate your further growth. Never underestimate the importance of forming a strong network. Not only will they assist you in protecting what you already have, but you will also enrich each other. Step 14. Diversify your portfolio. At this point, you have a successful business, several profitable investments, and a new group of friends. You're all looking for new opportunities, and because of the group's size, you can open doors to opportunities that are beyond each individual's reach, but not out of reach for the group as a whole. When you pool your resources and start doing massive deals, you've arrived. If you buy single-family homes by yourself, you're purchasing entire buildings, developing projects, and on a much larger scale. If you buy single-family homes with a group, you're buying entire buildings, supermarkets, conglomerates, developing projects, and on a much larger scale. You have access to the opportunities they all recognize because of your network, allowing you to diversify your portfolio. All you have to do now is cash in. Step 15. Sell the company and start all over. Every company should have an exit strategy. You start, expand, grow, and exit. This is pretty much the road that every wealthy person has taken. There are always bigger fish to fry. And because you've been doing so well, you've most likely piqued their interest. Between the 7th and 11th years of your business, you will go through a period of transformation. You've been doing this for a decade and might want to try something different. It's also a great time to sell the business. Because the stock market is performing exceptionally well. Because of the investments you made at step 11, the business is stable. And things have changed in your life. This is the point at which you officially relinquish control and cash out. But here's where it gets fascinating. Everyone believes that if they sold their firm for $10 million, $50 million, $100 million, or more, they would never have to work another day in their lives. This is a falsehood. The image of the retired person sipping margaritas on the beach is an illusion. Trust me, you'll go insane after just 6 or 12 months. If you've made it thus far, you're a true entrepreneur. It's in your blood, but you're off to a new start. You have resources, connections, a high-level skill set, and a strong desire to make a difference in the world. This is the last step of your road to being wealthy. It is called self-actualization. Most people never get past the first stage and never get to enjoy the advantages of their 10-year commitment. Which takes us to you, the individual who is currently watching this video. Where would you be on your trip right now if you went through the list of steps? We're very interested in learning about your problems. As a result, we may be able to give you some tailored advice in the future. Thank you for watching. Please